First of all, how's everyone doing? I am here with... Gotta look at your name again. Romez?
Yep,
Romance.
Vermont.
Okay. And this is the first podcast I'm doing with a co-host. I'll be honest, don't have a name for it yet, so we're still working out that details. But this is just so we can introduce ourselves, so you all understand what's going on. So how about you start by introducing yourself?
All right, my name is Ramon McLaurin. I currently reside in the Connersville, Pennsylvania area, but I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 33 years old, new to the podcast thing. It seems very interesting. I feel like I'm very informative on a lot of topics. So, and I got a good sense of humor. So, this is the thing that I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah. Um. So, uh, and me, my name is John, but I usually go by Drag or Dragon online. And the idea behind this is just where we can be ourselves, talk, and have different points of views, and just get along. Like, where most people who do podcasts, they have like a gaming podcast, an anime podcast. This is an all over type of thing. Where if you just want to sit down doing homework and listen to us ramble for God knows how long, we could do that. um, so really, with just it's kind of interesting. Someone who knows a few things about the podcast world and someone who's new. It's always fun to talk to people have different points of views, type things. Would you agree?
Yes, sir, I do agree.
Uh, so that brings me the question: what wanted to get you into podcasting?
Oh man, okay. Well, I'll say it like this. Like just like I told you, prior to us recording it, I'll just be honest. I have health issues, so I'm always in the hospital, in and out of the hospital getting surgeries, and I'm always on Facebook, social media, reading and things like that. So once I clicked a few links within Google and or YouTube, for some reason, podcasting came up. And it just said that if you got a lot of time on your hands, you like to talk, you like to gaining information and share information with others. That's a good field to go into because of the pandemic right now, and everybody trying to find out ways to make income from home, and this is actually one of them. And I never even would thought about nothing like this, so it was just interesting.
So basically, trying something new, in a sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Me, like I told you, and anyone who knows me, I have mental disorder. I'm schizophrenic, so I can't work. So I fill my time up with doing anything and everything. And when I was in high school, I learned everyone has a story. So
Hmm.
that's what got me into podcasting, because originally I started with an interview podcast called Dragon's Den Podcast.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
now here I am wanting to make one where it's just talking to people who I would hope one day to call friends and such. So that's how we got here, in a sense.
Hmm. Interesting.
So that makes me bring on to this. With you always being like in the hospital and such, would you agree that in a sense, just by people you talk to, everyone has a story?
Oh yeah, everybody has a story. Yeah. Uh huh. Yes, sir.
Okay, so
I'm also writing me a novel right now too. Currently, speaking of that, it's gonna be like a documentary,
you're right,
basically just something like about my life and stuff
kind of
like
like
that.
an
So
autobiography.
yeah, autobiography.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the word.
Same here. I enjoy writing. I enjoy stories and such. Growing up, I always had an active imagination. So where most people
Hmm.
saw, I don't know if you're around my age. I'm 25, so growing up, playing outside and such, where people saw a gun, I saw a sword or a gun like I'm not gonna stick. I mean, my bad. Bad choice of words. Yeah, a solid stick is like a sword or a gun or anything like that. Just playing around.
Yeah, just like you just said, man. I feel like every human being, everyone, regardless of like race, creed, sexual, like male, female, I feel like everybody got a story to tell. It's just a lot of us choose not to tell it, if that makes any sense. So it's like and this little like this little podcasting thing. It's like you can verbally articulate on a lot of things that you go through, or your experiences, or knowledge, wisdom. So speaking on topics, and then meeting new people, and sharing your perceptions with the world. I think that this is a very good field to be
Yeah,
in.
and like for instance, with the world right now coming out of, well, depending on who you ask, coming out of the pandemic, is like people are still gonna be afraid to do things we used to do. Like for instance, my son who's 4, he wanted to go trick or treating, but I was like, I don't know, because what if people are still going crazy about like mandates and masks and all that? So of course took him
Hmm.
to family members' houses and just mainly hung out with them.
Yep. And like, let me ask you a question now. Do you think that this world will ever get back normal? And if so, how long do you think it'll take us to
I
get back
don't think
normal?
it's going to get back to normal we know. Like where people going to sports games and not being afraid of a man coughing. I think for a while we're still going to be afraid of this virus, this unknown enemy, as people called it, and being scared to talk to each other and face to face. I mean, for instance, I went to the store with my father yesterday, and I tried talking to someone that I accidentally bumped into, saying, "Hey, sorry," and such, and they were freaking out because like, "Oh, what if you're sick?" and such, and I'm just like, "I'm sorry," because if
Yep.
we're talking about a normal, I don't think we'll get back to the old normal. I think we'll have some sort of a new normal.
Yep. And that's the scary part
What do you
too.
think?
I believe the same thing. And what's crazy is they said we're the only we're like one of the main countries right now that is still going through this pandemic thing, because a lot of other countries, China being the first, and that's the weird part, because that's where they claim that it came from, and China got everything in control within the first 6 months to a year, and now the U.S. we're still trying to fight it, and still trying to get everybody like to follow the guidelines, because there's a lot of stipulations. And us being Americans, quote unquote, a lot of us are rebellious.
Yep.
So for us, I don't think it ever get back right.
Oh yeah, true. For instance, I live in a small town in the Midwest, and well, not really a small town, it's more like a small city, but whatever. And being in the Midwest is primarily those hardcore, um, screw the government type of people. So not a lot of people are wanting to get vaccinated or follow the rules and such. And if I hear another person tell me that because I got vaccinated, I'm a test subject, I am going to lose my mind.
Mm,
uh, how
interesting.
are things in your area? Like, do people follow rules more, or are they more rebellious, being like, "Nah, screw the rules"?
Well, I'm over here, like I said, in Pennsylvania. It's called Uniontown. I mean, well, Connersville, and I'm right next to like Uniontown, and Pittsburgh is like an hour away. And right now, I'm currently in the hospital in Pittsburgh. So honestly, here people are like they're like me. For example, I'm very rebellious for my own uh, personal beliefs and experiences, and unfortunately, I had ended up catching COVID like I would say a month and a half ago, and I'm just thankful that I did. My body was able to fight it off.
Well, I'm glad you're still here and you're able to fight it off because, like I said, everyone has a story and everyone has a reason to be here and such. So the
Hmm.
fact you're here, able to tell your story, is kind of amazing to me because um, a friend, a few people I know, luckily no one I know personally has died from COVID, as far as I know. But a few friends I know, they know people who
Hmm.
did, and most of them like, hey, get the vaccine, do what you can, like wear a mask. I mean, I think it was said if everyone wore a mask and followed protocol, this virus would have been over 6-8 weeks,
Exactly.
and it's just like I I don't like wearing them as much as the next person, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, please just don't be stupid.
Exactly. Yep. Like me, I was ignorant.
uh,
Yeah, and I caught it. But I'm just thankful that like you said, I was able to get through it. So,
yeah, which brings me on to this question. Um, do you think, uh, as things are right now, that it is the best it can be, or do you think we're just lucky to make it this far?
that's a good question. Kind of both in a sense,
Kind of.
but
I like that answer.
yeah, I think I feel both because yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think we could have been better, but overall, I'm thankful how far we made it. This country as it is. I mean, I'm not like at to the point where like I see an old friend, I hug him. I'm at the point instead of waving, I'm like giving them fist bumps now. Be like, hey, what's up?
mm, hmm
But stepping away from COVID hospitals, stuff like that. Um, really, the question is, what makes you you, in a sense.
mm,
Since, since this is
huh?
since
Good
this is a
question.
podcast where we're just introducing ourselves, having people know who we are and such.
Hmm. What makes me me? I would say there's so many different avenues. So okay, first and foremost, I would think that what makes me me is my experiences in life, um, how did I dealt with them, where I came from, where I'm trying to go, and where I presently am. I'm a work in progress still, and I feel as though there's still a lot of growth that I have to do to transition from the ignorant, belligerent, wild person I once was to a more conservative man. If
Oh,
that
it
makes
does.
any sense. And I'm just like every day I'm really trying to like grow, even if it's something small. I'm trying to learn things each and every day. I try to change my self-destructible bad habits. And it's just like a lifelong process. That's how I look at it. Like so there's a lot of things that make me me.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and that's a great answer. Like it's usually when I ask people who what makes them them, and they're like, I don't know, I'm just like was able to put my pants on correctly. And I'm just like, okay.
Mm, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to say the least if we're talking about what makes us us, because if I were to look at how things were say 5 years ago, and I and how things have formed, I would not
Hmm.
believe I even made it this far, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, it makes a perfect sense. Perfect sense. Um. Okay. Can I
Go
ask you
ahead.
a question? It's something similar to what you asked me, but who are you? Like, what would you if a person asks you who are you? What would be your
It's
rebuttal?
going to sound basic and such, but I'll say I am me, and if they go into detail, it's like literally I am, and I'm going to sound like every basic YouTuber, streamer, all that. I am a 25-year-old still living it with his parents, trying to make it day by day, because um if we're talking like what got me here, literally growing up and being the oldest of four brothers, if we count myself, four brothers,
Mm-hmm.
like six people living in a one bedroom house, making it day by
Mm,
day on a basic paychecks and food stamps, like that life experience. That's what
mm,
made me me. And the fact is, where most people would say, your life is easy compared to mine, I would say it's just a different struggle. Like,
yes,
try
sir.
imagining being 15, sitting in science class, and seeing and start hallucinating from schizophrenia,
Mm,
and being afraid to
mm,
tell people because, as I learned when I talk about it, because I'm very open about it, because I'm a big advocate for mental health and just personal health in
mm.
general. People saying like, "Oh, how you know you're not possessed or such?" Like, it took a lot for me to open up and talk about it. But
Mm-hmm.
to sum up your question, I'm just somebody trying to change the world. That's me.
Mm. Interesting, man. That's interesting. And you know what? We just met, and I got like a lot of respect for you because you just hit the hammer on the nail. Like when you said, with your mental illness and the things that you have to deal with, and then wanting to vent. And at the time, I guess you was like younger, and you were just scared to vent. And that's another thing about this world that is sad because we all suffer from some type of mental illness. I don't care what the society try to portray it, but living in this world, we all go through our ups and downs, and like you already know, we all deal with it in a different aspect, in a different way. So for you to know that the things that you've been through and to try to help other people, yes, I respect
Yeah,
that.
and it's like, um, it's also one of those things where, sad to say, mental health is still a very unknown thing because everybody's brain is different. Like, for
Hmm.
instance, when you messaged me, I think you messaged me first, wasn't it? Or did I message you?
I think so.
No, no, I messaged you. When I messaged you first, it was one of those things where it's like my brain was like, "No, don't. You don't know if he's a good person." But I had to learn. I always take risks.
Mm, mm, I like that.
Yeah, I'm an
I
open
like
book.
that. Mm,
Literally, that's like the goal of this is like talk about really anything because, I mean, hell, when I was talking to some people I interviewed and wanting to see if they wanted to be a co-host, they always said, "What if like I get canceled? What if you get canceled and such?" Like cancel culture, which is a stupid big fear because like, as I got told, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one,
hmm. Yep.
and that brings me my question to you: Is that one thing you think is needed or is very idiotic? Cancel culture.
The
Cancel
who
culture is
culture?
basically like, say someone said a stupid Facebook post or tweet 10 years ago and it came to the surface.
Oh, let me see. Yes, yes, and I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but I was thinking about it when you were just talking, and it's basically about the same thing. And Steve Harvey. Familiar with
Yeah,
Steve Harvey? He said it himself. He said you have to get out your comfort zone, and the average American or human being comfort zone is going to 9 to 5, maybe going to a technical school or going to a college and paying bills, working, and things like that nature. And he said if you want to make it success, but everybody's breakdown of success is different. But to become successful, he said you have to get out your comfort zone and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes
yeah,
any sense. So I say that because A lot of people do have dreams and they never give it 110%. Like right now, let's say me and you with this podcast thing, that's kind of like far fetched. It's kind of like uh, a dream in a sense, and it can go one or two ways, but you'll never know if you don't give it your 110%. Because who knows, we might become famous. I don't know if that's in your list of like goals, but we become famous. It could become a career, it could become a paid hobby or anything. So I would never cancel this out because I feel like a lot of things in my life I've started and didn't finish.
Yeah.
So I always had that regret in my head, like, dang, I wonder if I would have gave that 110%. What if I would have became successful? You never know unless you try and you give it your
Oh
all.
yeah, I
So,
agree. And a quote, I don't know, an old family member said it to me before he passed a few years ago. He said to me, literally, like, woke up and we were just sitting down talking, and he said to me, he's like, don't let your fear of having a dream stop you from going towards them. Because if you are
mm,
afraid, then that means it's something that you should try to do. And I was
mm-hmm.
11, 12 years old at the time, and I said, what do you mean? And he said to me, growing up, things were different than they are now. You literally can have a computer in your pocket, and he pulled out his cell phone, which was a BlackBerry at the time. That shows how long ago it was. And he said, I believe you can do anything you set your mind to. And
Mm-hmm.
another one, a substitute teacher said to me in high school about 3-4 months before I dropped out was literally everyone was leaving class, and he looked at me and said, hey, John, stop. I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay. He's like, take a seat. And I went to sit in a chair. He's like, no, sit comfortably because I want to have a serious word with you. So I was like, okay, can I sit on this desk? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he looked at me and said, school's not for you, which is okay. I see you struggle. I see you have a
mm,
hard time. You don't learn like a normal person, do you? And I said, no, I'm more hands-on. Like right now I'm fidgeting with stuff as we're talking. And he
mm,
said, I could see myself looking at the news one day and see your picture come up and say, you did something to change the world. Whatever it is, go towards it.
hmm,
And I was like, okay. And it stuck with me because I recently remembered it. Because school gave up on me. I'm one of those cases where high school gave up on me. But I I stopped going to school and I stopped trying for a long time because I was depressed. I was fearful. But then my son was starting school like a few months before he started pre-K. I was like, I already know he's going to be like, why should I continue going to school when you didn't? So I busted my ass working and got my GED.
mm.
So that way I could tell him, like, hey,
Okay.
I didn't give up on doing better for myself. You shouldn't either.
Indeed.
Sorry, I tend to ramble.
No, it's okay. It's okay. And I was just listening to everything you said, and I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And the reason I say that because, you. Now that I think about it, you were the first person I commented on your post, and you reached out to me, and you said in the process of doing that, you kind of like second guess yourself, like, oh, maybe he's not this, he's not that, da, da. But you did it, and now look what happened. We were having a very intellectual, good conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, it feels like it's been 5 minutes, but we've been talking for 24.
Mm-hmm. That just like everything happens for a reason, and that's the awesome. That's like the awesome thing about what we're both trying to do at the moment. It's like it's I look at it as a blessing.
Yeah, because, I mean, in a normal situation, we probably wouldn't have never even talked.
Never linked up.
Yeah.
Yep. It never talked. Never none of that.
So,
Exactly.
with,
Mm.
with that being said, um, what's it could be yourself, it could be someone else. What's one person pushing you to do better?
Mm. I would say myself and my significant other, my fiance,
Congratulations.
uh, and just life in general. Like uh, over the past this year, I've lost a few people, and the last person I lost was my mentor. And I never met him face to face, none of that thing, none of that. But he was way in, in California, and he's a public speaker and whatnot, and along with other couple other things. And you know, it's just like that's my motivation too, because I met him back when I was like 18, and I'm 33 now. And we just kept in contact. He's like a good person, whatever, whatever. And it's like there's been so much that I wanted to do. Like I said, I'll start something and then I'll stop it. So I never gave a lot of things 110%. This right here is something that I want to give 110%, regardless of the outcome. It's like I know that I started something and I didn't just quit or give
Yeah.
up. Like, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's actually really nice, and that's really cool because looking at it, there's a lot of things like just like you, I could have given 110% on. Like, one thing I want to get into is music, but I'm tone deaf.
Mm.
I cannot sing worth crap. But well, no, literally, like I sound like a dying dog when I sing. But one thing
Mm.
I found that I like to do, I studied poetry in high school, so I combined that with music, and I got
Mm.
into rapping a little bit. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm not the best
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that, but I enjoy it. So it's like I have free time, so why not give it a try? And and that's another
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm scared of. Is like I want to post my work online, but I'm like, what if people don't like it and such? And then I had to remember one thing I learned with being on YouTube for 7 years now is that
Mm.
you're going to have people that hate what you do either way. Like if they're listening to this podcast on
Exactly.
YouTube, Spotify, whatever, and they're like, they could just be like, "Hey, I I like say they like you, but they don't like me, or vice versa." Is it? Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
vice versa.
okay, so
Yep.
what? It's just someone that obviously does not like what we're talking about. So we can't please everybody. So my question
Exactly.
to you is, what are some hobbies you have? Since we're just trying to get to know each other.
Funny thing is, I'm also a writer myself. I love to write poetry. I can't rap. No, never could. But I do like to write. I could write a rap. I could write music. I could write poetry. Like I said, I'm writing a book. This right here is something new that I never even knew that I would enjoy or even become a part of. So this is a new hobby, and honestly, it's like being that it's a hobby. I'm gonna do it for fun, and while I'm doing it for fun, it's like if I could make it out of a lifestyle and a career, or make money behind it. Oh, that's even better because I enjoy doing it. Like,
Yeah, if it's something you enjoy,
yeah.
you never work a day in your life. That's one thing I learned.
Hmm.
And which brings on another question. I know I come up with a lot. I ask a lot of questions when I'm getting to know people. Um, what would you tell yourself, say 5, 10 years ago? Like if you could travel back in time and see yourself and be able to talk to yourself, what would you say to yourself?
Okay, let me see. 5 years from now.
No, 5 years ago.
There's. I mean, yeah,
Okay,
5. I'm
sorry.
sorry. Um. Hmm. I would tell myself there's unlimited opportunities and stop being so shallow minded. And when I say that, like 5 years ago, I was very shallow minded. That was like on ways to make money, hobbies, like what we're talking about, um, things that I wanted to do for fun. It was like limited. Like, yeah, I would tell myself a lot. So,
Yeah, and That is interesting to see. That.
Oh, and to save money. Stop spending it so much. Save money. You don't need this. You don't need that. But like, yeah, be financial literacy.
Yeah.
I mean, literacy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm.
Because I got like a bad habit of
Oh,
spending money.
same. I'm going to take a break from asking questions and like, you got any more?
Nah, I just hope that you record the conversation and send me the link
I will.
so I can edit it too.
I can send you a link. After we get done, we can exchange emails and such, and I can send it to you as well.
All right, yeah, and send me the thing like that you can record the conversation with and all that
Yeah,
stuff too.
I'll do that.
Okay.
One thing I learned over the years, like if I can go back and tell myself, is don't rush into things. Like,
Oh yeah.
I met this girl, knew her for 6 weeks, started dating her. After 6 months of dating, got engaged, and then got married right away.
Same.
Yeah, and it didn't work out, and I'm going to say thankfully because we are better friends than we were lovers. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I would just say, don't rush into things. Take your time, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Because that is what a lot of people are afraid of. They're afraid to ask for help because they feel like they are a nuisance or they're seeking attention and such.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is basically really it, and that's really the main thing of it is this little podcast thing we're recording and such. I guess we could call it like a test episode 1. See if it works out. See if I'm personally enjoying talking to you. Like, if we weren't recording, I probably would still shoot the shit with you.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and is there anything you want to say before I end it, because I don't know what else to talk about?
I just want to say, man, I honestly appreciate you and your time, and I appreciate you talking to me, man. Like, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking to me too and commenting on it because, like I said, I'm new to all these podcast groups, and the fact that you commented on it and took the chance by commenting on it really means a lot to me as well. But
yes, sir.
While we were talking, I was thinking of a name, just the Just Chatting podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
like
introduction. I don't know.
I'm talking about the name of the whole podcast and such. Like, if it's just you and I, or we had someone else, like, call it the Just Chatting or the Chat Room.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, name's still up in the air. We'll figure it out. But
yeah, we'll figure it out.
If you're wondering when you can find these, I will be editing this and hopefully have it up either Monday or Friday, and I'll send it to you so you can do the same.
Yeah, if you want to, after we get off the call, please send me the link to this conversation, and then I'll start working on it immediately.
Eventually, like right now, if you're watching it from my end, it's going to be on YouTube on my channel, the Dragon After Dark, and eventually I'll have it to where it could be on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, stuff like that. And I always say this, please let me know what you want us to talk about. Like, we obviously similar but different point of views, so let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll do so. But I'll catch you all in the next one. See you then.
All right.